Counsel, you want to state your appearances, please?
Mr. Goodrich, Wayne County Prosecutor.
Luke Kutusky, on behalf of Mr. Abbott, Your Honor.
Right. And I'm here for sentencing on a charge of evidence tampering. It's a 4-year statutory maximum and a guideline range at 0 to 9 months.
So here's what we're dealing with. The defendant's name is Britney Abbott. She's a process server, and she's standing before a judge, convicted of evidence tampering. Now, 4 years, that's the maximum, but the guidelines, 0 to 9 months. 0 to 9 months, people. That means she could walk out of there today with nothing but probation. And her lawyer, he's already worked out a deal. 6 months, delayed sentence. You behave yourself, case gets dismissed. Sounds pretty sweet, right? Well, that's what they thought. 0 to 9 months for evidence tampering. Does that feel right to you? Comment below.
Mr. Kutusky, have you had a chance to review the pre-sentence report and recommendations with your client?
Your Honor, I had no additions or corrections to that report.
Okay. And any scoring challenges?
We did not have any.
Ms. Goodrich, any additions, corrections, or scoring challenges from the people?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Kutusky, anything you want to say on your client's behalf?
Well, Your Honor, I'd just say that I believe Ms. Abbott's going to be successful on the term of delay, and the agreement that we've worked out with the prosecutor. This really felt like an interesting case to me, in that she gets hired on, or is hired on for some firms that are collecting credit card debts, and she's to serve people. And there's not really much training as to how that service is to be done. I think she now understands the ramifications of what had happened. She has expressed to me she's very apologetic to the victims in this case, and sorry that if anything happened with their case, that she's sorry about that. But she did. It wasn't that she just mailed it in, Your Honor, where she said she served somebody, but she didn't. She did drive down from Marquette, go to these residents. Although somebody at the residence that she serves, it's not the right person. So again, I think the disposition that's been worked out here is addresses the issues and addresses the conduct and behavior. I would ask the court to follow the agreement that we have for this 6-month delay with Ms. Abbott at this time. Thank you.
Well, I mean, I wonder about those facts. She filed a proof of service with the court indicating that she had personally served.
Okay, wait. She didn't just file a fake proof of service. She described the person she supposedly served. Age, appearance, a missing ear. Think about that for a second. That's not a typo. That's not accidentally checking the wrong box. That's sitting down and writing a physical description of a person who you never actually saw. That level of detail? That's not negligence. That's something else entirely.
The named people at an address and the location, and included a description of the person, including, it said for one of them, described his appearance, including having a missing ear. So that sure sounds like Miss Abbott is intentionally trying to say, yes, I personally served this named person, when she didn't, and not just some sort of technical mistake that she didn't know she could leave it with someone else at the household. So help me square that circle.
Well, Your Honor, there's an application with these firms that she's working with where you just check the box when the paper's delivered. They do the proof of service to the court, and that's the proof of service that was provided to the court.
So here's the defense. It was an app. You just check a box. The company generates the proof of service. She didn't type it herself. And honestly, I get it. A lot of gig economy work is like that now, right? You tap a button, the form fills itself. But here's the shocking part. The judge wasn't buying it, not even a little, because the proof of service, it has her signature on it, electronically, but still hers. Is the app did it a real legal defense? Let me know what you think in the comments.
She was not personally taking those to the court. Again, she accepts her responsibility for the improper service. We're definitely not making any excuses there. They just what Your Honor.
But the proof of service is signed by her, right?
It would be electronically on her phone through the application with the company that she has. And so again, as I've stated, she's learned from this. She understands leaving it with anybody that was not proper. But it could have been where you just check the app that you did it, and you didn't even leave your home or come down to try to effect service. And she's accepted the responsibility by entering into this delay that she knows that it was not proper. And we're not making any excuses here, Your Honor.
It sounds like you're saying she's not technically guilty of intentionally tampering with evidence.
I'm not at all, Your Honor. I would not do that.
I mean, just making a mistake about what the court rule requires is a different thing entirely from felony tampering with evidence.
Well, and then I think the court is not hearing or is misunderstanding. I'm just trying to explain the circumstances or the facts around that, but I'm not making any excuses, Your Honor. I think it's important for the court to know the totality of those circumstances. That's all. Again, we've accepted the responsibility. We've, got her meeting with probation in days. She's come down from Marquette. We're totally going to comply with the delay period.
Well, I'm wondering whether she should get a delay, honestly. So I'm wondering a process server that intentionally falsifies a proof of service with a court. That's what she's convicted of.
Yeah.
Somebody that does that, in my mind, ought to go to jail. So that's what I'm thinking about.
And now the judge speaks, and he doesn't hold back. Somebody that does that, in my mind, ought to go to jail. The room goes quiet. The lawyer goes quiet. Even the air feels different. Because this judge, he's not interested in the Abb story. He's not interested in technicalities. He's thinking about the two people whose due process rights were stolen from them. People who had a legal right, a constitutional right, to know they were being sued. And they never got that chance because of a lie, filed with a court with a signature attached to it. When a judge says that out loud, mid-hearing, you know the deal is in serious trouble.
I don't believe this is the case that would warrant that. I definitely understand the court's concern. I do. But I'm not trying to make any excuse for the client. No.
All right, I can tell you there's no way I'm doing a delay. All right, Ms. Abbott, you don't have to make a statement today. Is there anything you want to say or no?
Yes, I would like to sincerely apologize for being completely negligent.
See, okay, okay, hang on. You're not convicted of being negligent. Now, you pled no contest, so I can't force you to make a statement about this. But I'm not going to sit here and let you... You're convicted of intentionally tampering with evidence. You're not convicted of negligence. So let's start again.
I was incredibly naive, and I did not understand how to do my job at all. I didn't understand how to be a process server. So I just want to say I'm sorry.
All right, Ms. Goodrich, any recommendations from the people?
Oh, yeah, Sharon, thank you. Here it's stated, two victims had come forward on June 4th of 2025 to report perjury complaints, stating that there was proof of service filed with the district court where they were not served. Fortunately, they both were able to prove that they were at work at the time.
Now here's where it gets serious. Two real people, two victims. They found out somehow that court documents listed them as served, but they were at work. Both of them at the exact time the service supposedly happened. They had receipts. And wait, it gets stranger. The defense is saying she handed the papers to someone else at the house, but neither victim had cameras, no footage, and not a single family member, not a single roommate, not a single person said, "Hey, someone dropped off legal papers for you today." So either nobody answered that door, or nobody was ever there. they could prove exactly where they were. That kind of alibi changes everything.
Confusing about the explanation here today is that the explanation that the defendant is given is that she handed it to someone else, but that's not in the PSI description of the offense. And in fact, it says that neither of the people had cameras at their house to see if a process server was at their residence. So it'd be strange that nobody at their house would tell them, hey, I got this paperwork here today, if somebody else was actually served. So I would guess that no person was served at either household based on those set of facts. The defendant is 36 years old. She has no prior felonies and one prior misdemeanor. Looks like she's part-time or sporadically employed and has a bachelor's degree. The guidelines are 0 to 9. The plea agreement was for the 6-month delay. The PSI accepts that with a focus on services being for mental health treatment for the defendant, as well as using her positive family support system more so that she makes better decisions in the future.
All right, thank you, Ms. Abbott. If you please stand for a short sentence. All right, Ms. Abbott, I don't buy a thing you're selling me today. If what you're saying is true, at the end of what I'm going to tell you, you should withdraw your plea and go to trial and get acquitted. Because if what you're telling me is true, I don't know that that's a crime. Making a mistake at your job is not a crime. I probably did it today already. You're convicted for certifying as a process server, certifying that someone was served personally when they weren't, and submitting something false to a court. That's a very serious crime. It's a terrible breach of trust. It undermines the legal system to the harm of litigants. You wouldn't like it today if I sentenced you and you weren't even here and didn't know about the case, because you're entitled to due process of law. The bare minimum of due process of law is notice and an opportunity to be heard.
This is the moment. The judge turns to Britney Abbott, looks her right in the eyes, and says something that cuts straight through everything. You wouldn't like it if I sentenced you and you weren't even here and didn't know about the case. He's making it personal, on purpose. You have a right to be in this room today. You have a right to speak. You have a right to a lawyer. But the people you were supposed to serve, your lie took that away from them. That's not just a crime, that's a betrayal. That's one of the most powerful things I've ever heard a judge say, and he's right.
I think that's a pretty crummy thing. You have no prior felonies, one prior misdemeanor. I don't really see a need for services on probation. It's really nothing that connects to this behavior of any criminogenic needs, that would have contributed to this situation. I certainly don't think that kind of behavior warrants 6 months of a delayed sentence and a dismissal at the end. So again, either you're innocent and should go to trial, or if you're guilty, this would not be a just outcome. So it'd be my intention today to sentence you as follows. $68 in state cost, the crime victim's assessment of $130, court costs of $350, comply with DNA testing and pay a $60 fee, and serve 6 months in the Sheboygan County Jail with credit for 1 day previously served.
And then he announces the sentence. Not the deal, not the 6-month delay, not the dismissal at the end. 6 months in the Shawano County Jail, starting now. The plea agreement is gone. The deal is dead. And now, Britney Abbott has a choice. Accept the sentence or withdraw the plea, go back to square one, face a full jury trial on 4 counts. 4 counts. The judge just blew up the entire agreement. What would you do if you were her attorney right now?
That does not comply with that is within the advisory guidelines. I think even though it's an intermediate sanction, the circumstances of this crime The breach of trust and the interference with the administration of justice are inadequately taken into account in the guidelines. So therefore, that does not comply with the sentence agreement. So you've got a choice to make, and I'll give you a minute to talk with your lawyer about that. You can either accept my sentence as I've announced it today, or you can withdraw your plea, and it goes back to a pretrial posture, and we'll schedule the jury trial on 2 counts of obstruction of justice and 2 counts of evidence tampering.
Let me break this down for you. Britney Abbott wasn't just facing 1 charge, 2 counts of obstruction of justice, 2 counts of evidence tampering. That's 4 separate charges, 4 separate moments where the legal system says, you went too far. But here's what makes this case interesting. She pled no contest. She didn't fight it. She said, okay, I'll take the deal. So why is everyone still arguing? No contest doesn't mean innocent. It means I'm not going to fight this. Big difference.
So I'll give you some time to talk with him. And well, yeah, if you'd like, I can pass the case, and I would just direct you to tell Ms. Abbott she may not leave the 2nd floor of this courtroom and of this courthouse until we address the matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you can go out the hallway and talk.
There you go.
That's the case.
And there it is. She's not accepting the sentence. The plea withdrawn, the case reset, the trial coming. Everything goes back to the beginning. 2 counts of obstruction of justice, 2 counts of evidence tampering, and now a jury will decide. You know what's wild about this case? The judge actually told her himself, if what you're saying is true, you should go to trial because making a mistake at your job is not a crime. He gave her the out. Whether she deserves it, that's for 12 jurors to decide. You know what struck me most about this case? It wasn't the crime itself. It's what the judge said about why it matters. Due process isn't just a legal term you learn in school. It's the thing that protects every single one of us. The right to know, the right to show up, the right to be heard. When a process server falsifies a document, especially with specific details like a physical description, that's not a mistake, that's a choice. And this judge, he refused to let that get buried in a quiet plea deal. Whether you agree with his sentence or not, you have to respect that. If this case surprised you, smash that like button. And if you think the judge made the right call rejecting that plea deal, comment justice below. Or if you think she deserved the delay, comment too harsh. I read every single comment. Subscribe for more real courtroom breakdowns, new cases every week, and click the video on screen right now for another case where a judge completely loses patience in court. Trust me, you won't want to miss that one.